Nah, kan? Mantap.
Masih nyiapin teknis.
Wah, ada playground lagi di Cikal.
Beneran?
Sekolah Cikal Lebak Bulus is a community of lifelong learners. With Cikal 5 Stars curriculum that extends from preschool to high school, we teach our students to be open-minded, self-reliant, innovative, collaborative, and action-oriented. The smart learning environment is catered to students' uniqueness and sparks students' creativity. Curriculum that extends from preschool to high school. We teach our students to bring open-minded and friendly learning environment, innovative, collaborative, and action-oriented to every student. The smart learning environment is catered to students' uniqueness and to support the students' creativity curriculum that extends from preschool to high school. We teach our students to learn open-minded and friendly learning environment, innovative, located in the heart of the South and action-oriented. Every student is connected to the South border area to students' uniqueness and support students' creativity curriculum that extends all your family's favorite learning. We teach our students to learn open-minded, friendly learning environment, innovative, located in the playground South and futurally to Sekolah Cikal Lebak Bulus is come and join us to the South border area that transform units perfectly to support students' creativity curriculum that extends all your family's favorite learning. We teach our students.
Good afternoon, respected teachers, guests, proud parents, and beloved students. Welcome to Cikal Bincang Bincang, one of the activities in our playground of Cikal learning event. Thank you for coming today. First and foremost, let me introduce myself. I am Zuhra, or people call me Om Jo, from Sekolah Cikal, Surabaya.
And I am Karima from your name Scholar Cikal Serpong, and today we will be your moderator for this session this afternoon.
Before we begin the students' activity, let me give you a picture of what to expect for the next hour. In this session, we have Zaki Nufal Rahmadia, Muhammad Farel Satyarana Irfandri, Gavin Feliciano Hanafia, Zenit Kenzi Dava Andi Kasnoto, all from year 10, Sekolah Cikal Setu, that will lead you in their activity where they will have a discussion with the title of Personal Project Podcast.
Okay. During this session, it is encouraged that audience participates in the activity. Please do write down any questions you have for our speakers through the chat feature on YouTube. Let's give a round of applause and a warm welcome to our students, Zaki, Farel, Gavin, and Kenzie. The time is yours.
Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, friends, teachers, parents, all alike. Welcome to PPP, or Personal Project Podcast, where today we'll be talking about our personal projects and everything personal project. I'm sure almost everyone here is familiar about what personal project is, but for those who may not know, personal project, or as we call it here, PP, is a program in the IB curriculum where MYP students in their final year explore an area of personal interest over an extended period. It provides them with the opportunity to consolidate their learning and develop important skills that they'll need in both further education and life beyond the classroom. It also helps them develop confidence to become principled and lifelong learners. So basically, we explore our personal interest by investigating about it. For example, my personal project is that I taught myself how to develop a game all from scratch. I made a puzzle game with the goal to train people's strategic and thinking skills, and also their problem solving skills by seeing how fast they can solve the puzzle. Since I was very small, I was always interested in puzzle games, and I always liked playing them, trying to rack my brain and solve them. And since around grade 7 or 8, I've also gained an interest in computer programming. And I figured that I could expand my knowledge in both and try to mix the two by making a puzzle game for people to play. So, uh, why don't you guys explain your personal project to the other viewers?
All right. In relation to video game, my topic is also about video game, especially how it affects like the human brain. And so, why did I choose this topic? Well, this is because I choose this topic because um, I see that video games have been like viewed negatively within the media, especially by the older generation. They just don't get it, in my opinion. Even like my mom, like say that video game is a waste of time, and me, I get offended a bit. And yeah, so what I do is that for my personal project, I make this podcast explaining the benefits of video games as to counter this. And yeah, so my podcast I made, the name is, and you can read my lips if you want to know. Um, and yeah, it's basically a podcast. Within it, I learn on how to make a podcast, and basically I learn a bunch about video games too, facts that I don't know, because I bring on like professionals that tell me stuff. And yeah, it's not that exciting, but for me, it's exciting. And how about you, Kenzie? What is your personal project about?
Hello. So I have my own interests on such as aeronautics and also airplanes. So I have my personal project, which is a website called Aeronautics Secret, due to the fact that I have my own interest on aircraft and also aeronautics, and my father is a pilot. So I would very love to learn about aeronautics, and due to the fact that I wanted students and also teenagers, people to love aeronautics and some like information about airplanes. I wanted to share them to all of you guys. So yeah, I've created a platform, digital platform, which is a website called Aeronautics Secret, so that people could learn and also people could know what do make airplanes fly. And yeah, I also heard from you, Gavin, that you're also making a website, right? So what's your website?
Yeah, so my personal project mainly focuses on the area of Jakarta and the various vast amounts of tourism places, such as people visit for culinary, family entertainment, shopping, and etc. And the media I use to present is also a website, as Kenzie said. I learned many things. I learned how to develop website. I really enhance my communication skills, whether it be with teachers and peers and parents asking for feedback on my product, which is by the way called Jalan Jalan Jakarta. I also created an Instagram account as a media for promotion, and my goal is to promote the tourism places of Jakarta to local tourists, people who has never been to Jakarta yet, and really get to experience the true Jakarta via all these attractions. And another thing I'd like to point out is why we decided to do this podcast together is because we're all really tied to this one red line, which is being that our products are all digital. Because Farah with his game, Zaki with his podcast, Kenzie with his website, and me too. And I feel like that's also something that we can each relate to each other, and why not talk about it? Oh, wait one sec. During our PP, our whole PP phase and whatnot, obviously there are a lot of obstacles in the way. And why don't we start with Zaki? Well, what do you think is, or Farah, what do you think is, our hardest in our PP during our
Uh,
phase?
yeah, I'll go
You know,
first.
okay, okay.
Challenges. I think the challenges that I've encountered within this process is mainly because of my weakness. And I think it is true for most of the students. I don't know, I cannot say for all. But yeah, so the challenges that I've encountered is mostly because of my weakness. This could be related to communication skills and time management. First, let me talk about my communication skill. As you guys can tell by this live right here, I cannot speak very well. I have a very hard time coming up
Hey,
with
you're not
like
alone. You're not alone.
I know.
That's good.
I
That's
have
good.
a very hard time coming up with words. I just think about it and I just cannot spit the words out. And yeah, this happened to me on my recording process during this personal project, and especially it shows within the first episode where I recorded an episode with Farrell where we retake it countless of time. I don't know how many, maybe too much. uh Farrell, you can say that it's true, right? We retake it a bunch of
Yeah,
time, dude.
this is true. We recorded like 15 times before we got the perfect take.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a hassle, and yeah, it's just my communication is not so good, and that's why it is challenging to me this personal project. Second of all, the time management. I have a schedule back then, but here let me explain to you my thought process during this whole like personal project thing. Okay, so first, before I start a personal project, I think I'm scared of personal project. I think that I need to be very punctual, and so even thinking about it back then, like I pissed my pants. But then during the personal project process itself, um, I think, dude, this is not so hard, and then that's the problem. Because I think that, no, this is easy. I let my guard down and I start to slack off more, and I just couldn't keep up with my schedule. And yeah, this is also a tip for you guys who haven't done PP or on year 9 and about to do PP. Just know that when it looks easy, just don't let your guards down. Okay. So how about you, Gavin? What's your challenges? That's my challenges.
Honestly, first of all, I want to talk about the time management. Uh Maybe procrastination. Yeah, that's definitely one of my weaknesses, because I sometimes I no, not even sometimes, most of the times I like to do my work last minute, whether it be for perfection or because I'm just not in the mood to doing work. But because of this, I mostly focus on my PP2, because I move aside the summatives, other projects from school. So somewhere between term 2 and 3, I just feel this, my score just dropped down like really. I didn't feel like I didn't do my optimal work, my optimal best during like term 3. All because I was focusing on PP a lot because I was procrastinating. And not only the project and the product as well, but also the report, which took weeks to finish, even though the set due date time was supposed to be less than what was told by our supervisor, anyways. And so it was just like 2 or 3 weeks of just panicking. And yeah, I guess that's the challenges that I feel like I faced. Anyone want to go next?
Okay, it's my turn. Um, Personally, talking about time management, for me, it's not a big deal. I mean, of course, it's a big deal. Of course, not going to brag, but okay. So personally, it's about self-management. Like, man, come on. I have a will. I mean, I wanted to do this like in the afternoon. In the afternoon, but then later that night, I just end up on, watching airplane videos, making me making me fail on my schedule, or yeah, on my prime time. So then I ended just watching airplane videos without writing writing anything on my website, and I like just my schedule of my timeline goes down, And then personally, the challenges that I face the most is, you know, interviews. Like I have same like Zach, I have not a good skill of communicating skills. So in the interview, I literally just chatted them. I mean, also I met them, but just like a simple questions, and then yeah, I'm gonna go off like phew. So yeah, it's very tough for me in the PP, and due to the fact that same like Gavin, I do get rid all of my summative, and I have not no good scores back then in term three. Like damn man, that's very very awful of me. But yeah, it's the end though. But thank you to Miss Keke. Miss Keke is very very hard for me. Miss Keke always there to like, come on, Kenzie, you can do it. Even though that's not the way she talks, it's not that. She doesn't say that. She's like, come on, Kenzie, do it, or I'm gonna kick your, you know. Okay. So what about you, Farrell? Seems like you have the most complex
So,
PP.
so yeah, well, as everyone said, as Zaki, Kenzie, and Gavin said, like there was a lot of going on in our PPs, in our personal project, and it was a very stressful time, and we had to do so much things in so little time that we all just overstress and overcomplicate ourselves. And speaking of time management, it's just so difficult for me, especially in a time like this where we're all learning from home. If we go to school, usually after a class we all just hang out in the field or something, but now after classes we just fall asleep and wait for the next class. So it's really hard, especially at home. And again, my time management, I procrastinate a lot. I end up buying games the day before my personal project is due and playing it throughout the day. And I even had to I even have to be grounded to finish my personal project so I don't be carried away. Yeah, but it's not just about procrastination. We also had a lot of communication challenges with our supervisor. Sorry, with our supervisors, because we can only communicate through text and voice. And so if you want to make an appointment, a meeting with them, is really difficult. Is annoyingly difficult. We had to arrange if we're both free, if our supervisor is free. Also, don't want to disturb them, especially at night. So it was really hard.
Oh, you
And
know what,
but
Farrell? Me and Miss Keke just like we do a meeting from 3 o'clock like in the afternoon until 3 o'clock in the morning, man. Without any, I mean, we do have any breaks, okay? We do have any breaks. Come on, I drank like 7 cup of coffee that time.
oh, wait, that's so
Man,
long.
yeah,
Wait,
man,
for me, first, I
it's
want to
very
say
tough, bro.
I want to say sorry to my supervisor Parusri
Me
because
too.
because I probably annoy him a lot.
I think he's speaking for me and Zaki too.
I'm speaking for me and Zaki too, but we all
Both
annoy
of us.
Parusri a lot. But we still gotta give it to him because he did help us a lot with our personal project. And at the end, I'm very proud of my work. I'm very proud of my product, my report, and everything. And yeah, we did solve all those problems. It was very very hard.
But before we continue, I want to say one thing again. We're not trying to scare any ninth graders saying that PP is difficult. Oh, you're gonna die. You're gonna have to abandon everything you love and focus on PP.
No,
As long
No,
as you have your
like the
timeline
will.
and your schedule set, you're good to go. You just don't procrastinate. Don't be lazy. You just know your priorities, set them straight, and then if you want to have your free time, then go ahead, but just don't get carried away. Yeah.
I mean that's easier said
Like
than done,
follow your
but
timeline, dude.
still.
Yeah,
Follow
exactly.
follow
That
your
it
timeline.
is easier said than done, but
Listen,
Yeah, just
you gotta
keep that
try.
mindset. Yeah,
You gotta
keep
stop
that
I
mindset.
swear,
Keep that
if
You
you
gotta
mindset.
didn't
stop
follow your
procrastinating.
timeline, you are doomed. But come on, it depends on you guys. Okay, so what's next? Fun.
So, speaking of challenges and the challenges we faced and overcoming them, what do you guys think you learned from your PP? Like any good things that you learned? How about we start from how about we start from myself? Like for me, for me, I learned a lot from programming and developing games and apps since that is my PP, and I learned all about the pain struggles because well I experienced it myself. You know, it was really hard. It's really hard. I had a lot of brain farts and everything. It's very challenging. But then I soon later learned how to deal with them, and I learned a lot. And I was also featured in Zaki's podcast where I talked about the where I talked about the topic from the point of view of a game developer, and it taught me a lot about being interviewed and how to talk to an audience, which is why I can kind of talk to you guys in the audience. So, why don't we have Kenzie next?
Okay. First of all, I learned very, very much thing in my podcast, in my personal project. So, as you guys have said before, that I am really interested in aeronautics and airplanes. So, of course, I've learned very, very much like elements and also specifications about how airplanes do fly or how airplanes are made. But like when I was little, I'm always interested on aircraft. And then what I know is that airplanes fly due to the fact that there's the pilot itself uses a black magic or something so that they can lift the aircraft. And yeah, of course, I learned that's not true in my personal project. I also learned how to manage my time well, even though I did not. But I've learned how to, yeah, at the end, finish my report on time. I also learned that don't even try to procrastinate and just follow your timeline. I swear, the teachers, the supervisor have like guide us to follow our timeline. But then if we do not listen to them, yeah, you'll end up just like, you know, fail or something. Yeah. And then just to be honest, it's very, very complicated. I mean, due to the fact that we're in like in this the whole pandemic and we can't reach the teachers offline or we meet the teacher face to face only from maybe calls or something. I learned how to be independent, you know, being independent so that, oh, okay, Miss KK couldn't attend this meeting with me, so I need to do something at least to not make to make both me and Miss KK's communication or learning easier. So yeah. So what about you, Zaki?
Me? Oh,
No.
um,
Of course, man.
okay. So what I learned was, I think that for me, the thing that I learned most is from the challenges that I faced. Um, I faced communication challenges, and editing struggles. But yeah, I think those taught me the most about, like, for example, when interviewing Farrell, yeah, I interviewed him and it takes so many takes, and then that only happened one time. That didn't happen again, and that's because I learned from it. I learned from how to do podcasting from that first experience. And yeah, I think that I learned, like, mostly I learned from my challenges that I've encountered in this PP process. And I think that's all. That's it. I didn't learn like a whole ton, but at the same time I learned much also.
Like is already like the Albert Einstein of Cikal. Of course, he didn't learn much.
Yeah,
Of course.
yeah. They call me the Albert Einstein of Cikal.
Of Cikal. Yeah, come on, man.
I can confirm that that's true.
That's obviously you can see
My-
like her physical features. Very, very smart. Yeah.
I beat Albert Einstein actually. My IQ is 90.
If you
Gavin,
guys know Rainer,
Can you
This is getting sidetracked.
okay, sorry.
um,
Sorry, Gavin, tell me your story.
I'm sorry.
Personally, for me, I feel like I learned a lot about, since we're in this whole pandemic thing. I really don't like to talk about it. Bad memories. Um, since we're in this whole situation, I feel like I learned how to adapt, because obviously in the situation a lot of things are limited, especially for a product like me, like my product, which is um where the photos that I took for my website, I had to go to some of the places like independently. Well, not independently, but with my parents, and obviously you have to follow the protocols, which is wearing a mask, and then social distancing. Not to mention the limit for people to actually visit those places. So at times we have to delay the schedule and change the time to when we visit. So that's definitely one of the things that I learned, which is how to adapt, and then how to be independent. Like Kenzie said, obviously we can't always, ask our supervisors or our parents or peers for help. We have to not do everything by ourselves, but do our best by ourselves. And then if we can, we obviously, there's no shame in asking for help, because everyone needs help once in a while. And then I feel like I learned a lot about I enhance a lot of my research skills. Sorry, my research skills, because obviously a lot of my information in my website, regarding the places, location, is either from personal experience or obviously from their respected websites. So I learn how to find reliable sources, as well as finding a secondary source to prove my first source as well. And yeah, that's what I learned.
Right. I guess that we learn a lot from our personal project, eh?
Except for Zaki. Zaki is already smart enough.
No,
Yeah, you said
yeah,
you
I don't
didn't
need
know.
knowledge.
So
Zaki is
sad,
smart
man.
enough.
Sad.
You know, if you guys know Rainer, Rainer is beaten by Zaki. Rainer learns from Zaki, man.
I create knowledge. Anyway,
It's not
so
Einstein.
yeah. So anyway, they say that knowledge will be useless if you don't use it. And so from that, I wonder, like, how will I use this knowledge for the future?
Wise words.
And yeah, nice, nice words. So yeah, I always wonder that. And although I don't have like, currently I don't have like a goal in mind on what I wanted to become in the future, but what I know is that communication is crucial. We human as social creatures, we do need communication to convey our ideas. And yeah, I think that by improving my communication skill within this personal project process, um, that will really go handy, for finding. Never mind.
Jobs.
Uh,
Jobs.
jobs. Yeah,
Hey,
jobs.
interviewing is inevitable. Interviewing is
Yeah, interview.
interviewing and
Interviewing is
being
a skill that you
interviewed is
must have.
inevitable. You
Mm.
cannot
You
you cannot avoid
have
it.
to have.
Even
You
in the
have to know how to
afterlife,
interview.
it's inevitable. So yeah, I would like
How
to
do you know?
ask.
How would you know? How would
Afterlife?
you know?
How
No,
do
no,
you
no,
know? You
no,
haven't
listen,
done
listen.
that?
How do you
How would
Haven't
you
know?
been
know?
there?
Hey,
Come on,
Okay,
man.
let's not talk about it. Let's not
Afterlife.
talk
Come on.
about it.
No.
Are you reincarnated? Huh?
Yeah, I'm a toad. Come on, Gavin. I ask you.
Okay. For me, of course, I learned about my research skills, and obviously these skills that I learned throughout the entire PP will be used um in the future, obviously. So not only in future projects, but even for my career, my job in the later in my life. Obviously communication, like Zaki said, is key. Researching, whether it be through investigating through with audience, or researching with the given media like Google, or just researching in general is obviously useful. And then communication with your peers, your friends. They're gonna help you one day, because you can't survive without friends or not asking for help, because if doing everything by yourself, you can do everything by yourself. It's possible, but you're just giving a burden to yourself. You're just giving yourself more tasks to do. And why not ask for help when you can, or when you really need to.
Govin 2K21.
I'm not running for president. Who wants to go next?
Guess I'll go next then. So
Alright.
Zach and Gavin, they said something very powerful and very good. Obviously, I can't top them, but yeah. So since I aspire to be computer scientist in the future, maybe I can use this knowledge for my future career. Maybe I'll be the next Tokopedia owner. Maybe I'll make my own Tokopedia. Maybe I'll even be a game developer. Maybe make the next Free Fire. Shout out to my Free Fire boys out there. And as a game developer, I can use this knowledge maybe to make my own games, make the new Free Fire, or work as a Free Fire game developer. Sorry, I talk a lot about Free Fire. And yeah, maybe I can use it in a professional
Do you
environment.
unironically play the game though? Because you always say you play Free Fire.
Yeah, man.
We are not sponsored by
enhance Free
Free
Fire.
Fire.
You know?
Actually play.
I mean,
8-bit games.
Who
come on.
knows, bro? Who knows? I could be talking ironically or unironically. Who knows? But yeah, as Zach and Gavin said, I can also use skill I learned in Zaki's podcast when he interviewed me. I can use the interview. What's it called? Sorry, interview knowledge to maybe figure out how an interview works. Maybe prepare for my next interview, since that was the first ever time I've been interviewed. I've never been interviewed before. That's cool. Now, last but not least, we have Kenzie, the man of the hour.
Okay, Farah's definitely ready to be like a famous person to get in the interview. That's pretty cool, Farah.
Maybe
Good
you're
job.
getting carried away over here.
Mhm.
We're,
Okay, so
we're technically
what-
we're still in
what-
year 10, so
Yeah, guys, we're still in grade 10, okay? So, yeah. So, what I learned is personal project. Of course, I've learned to be independent, to not burden Miss Keke at night. I'm very, very sorry, Miss Keke. Like literally.
Miss Keke only. What about your parents?
Oh,
Only Miss
no,
Keke?
no.
Just Miss
Yeah,
Keke?
my parents did also help me. My parents helped me. But then, I don't have the courage to talk to my parents in the 2 in the morning. Of course, who would do that? But yeah, shout out to Miss Keke. Miss Keke, I love you, Miss Keke. Yeah, Miss Keke is very good. Choose Miss Keke for the next supervisor. Yeah? Okay, so I've learned very much things such as my knowledge, because I wanted to be an aeronautic engineer in the future. I wanted to, if you guys know Habibi, Eyang Habibi, I wanted to be like him. So I've learned very, very much about aeronautics in this personal project. Yeah. And then I've also learned how to communicate well with other people and how to set my time management, and also self-management, so that it's just a simple website, and I'm very overwhelmed about that. So I'm kind of disappointed in myself. It's just a simple website and I'm very overwhelmed. And I cannot manage my time well due to the fact that there's so many distractions or other stuff. So yeah, I learned how to manage my time and self well, so that I can be a better person in the future. Yes. So what time is it?
Big
108.
dreams
Yeah,
for little
big
man.
cheers, man. Yeah,
Big
for
big
little-
dreams.
I think at this point, just shout out to all supervisors, bro. They have
Yeah,
to
all
put up-
supervisors.
Wow,
I'm sorry,
they have
all
to-
supervisors.
But I have to put up with us all in the morning, bro.
We don't give enough respect to supervisors, man. They do so
Yeah,
much
man.
for us.
Yeah,
they're
don't ignore a supervisor, guys. Okay, I will just ignore Miss Keke for 1 month or 3 weeks, but then I am very overwhelmed because of that. Sorry, Miss Keke, I ignore your calls. I ignore the chats. I block Miss Keke. I'm sorry, Miss. I'm just tired. I'm very, very tired about that. I
Yo,
love Miss Keke.
why would you do that?
dude, Miss Keke was spamming me, but it's for my own good, I actually regret on doing that. I'm sorry, Miss Keke. I'm very, very sorry. I literally regret on doing that, man. Okay, so what time is it? So 1:39. So maybe we should open the Q&A session.
Open to Q&A session. Yes. Yeah.
Go.
If anyone has
Okay,
any
let's go,
questions,
let's go.
just leave them in the chat.
Just
And
leave them in the YouTube
also
chat. and-
put the who's the question for, the name of who the
Yeah.
question's for, unless it's for everyone.
Yeah.
Then
unless it's a general question, then don't
Mhm.
bother.
Okay, guys. Wow. So funny and so casual, but much reflections.
Okay, let's give a virtual round of applause for the students. Now, again, as what I
Alright.
said, yay! Okay, now let's check the Q&A on the chat room. If you have any questions about the topic, please do write it on the chat section.
Yes, we're having one question from the audience in YouTube chat. The question seems to be to all of you guys, so you can take turns to answer. The question is from Pak Rusdi Tamrin. How did you
Oh, my
finally overcome
guy.
Yo,
overcome your
Mr.
fear of
Rudzi.
public speaking when creating the podcasts? Any specific tips?
Is it? What is it for?
I think people who made podcasts should
Yeah.
start
I
first.
think
I
we.
think in general,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
general.
Zaki.
I think it's for you and me, Zach.
Zach
um,
Einstein, come on, the stage is short, man.
so did I overcome it? I didn't. Um, in short, no. It's not that I did. I improved on speaking, but I didn't get rid of the fear completely. I still cannot speak in public very well. But yeah, I think it's a progress thing, and you just needed to uh, take it slow. Um, and it's a learning experience. So if you ask me about tips, wow, tips. Um, this is hard because I don't really have any tips. My tips is just to, just speak normally, I guess. Just like, just imagine yourself speaking to somebody you know. In my case, it is someone I know, so it's easier. But what I was referring to, if you're like speaking to someone you don't know, I'm just saying that probably should, um, you know, do a little bit of know each other and greeting behind the scenes, and so when the podcast like actually we start recording, um you all like know each other. That's
Yeah.
all my tip. I hope that's useful. Right, Farel?
Okay. Uh, I think yeah. I think I have the. Yeah. I think mine is just very same to Zaki. I don't think I overcame it at all, but in terms of public speaking, I think the fact that it's digital interview and not real life interview, I think it helps a bit because I don't know if you guys can relate, but for me, I speak more confident digitally, like right now or in digital calls with my friends than I am in real life. I tend to be very shy in real life, so digital world is kind of the chance where I get to express myself and say what I'm thinking, but I still have to keep it filtered. It's family friendly.
That's pretty cap, but okay.
Okay, so personally for me, um, I didn't really have anything to do with public speaking for my project, but I would like to relate it with the week where I presented my PP in the same situation like this, where live streaming. Um, if it's talking about public speaking in general, then rehearse not rehearse and know your lines, know what you're talking about, really grasp your topic, and once you know everything, it's all fluid, then you can present pretty much easily. You don't have to worry about stuttering, as long as you know what you're going to talk about. So yeah, that's from me.
I also have no issue on like public speaking. I mean, I have my personal issue on public speaking. Like when I was in year seven, grade seven, I fainted in front of the class. Maybe some of you guys know it. I fainted in front of the class due to the fact that I'm not able to do a public speaking. I have no confidence. But then, in my personal project, I have nothing to do with public speaking. Only from maybe interviews. You just need to prepare it so that you guys know what you're talking about, as Gavin says. So you guys are confident enough to ask.
Okay, great answers, guys. Next question from Big Nave. What are the most important decisions that had to be made throughout your project?
Can I start, or does anyone else want
Yeah,
to?
sure. It's free.
Um, literally it's quite simple actually, but just pushing away my distractions. Pushing away. I wouldn't say it's a distraction. It's mostly like a hobby, I guess. Like, playing games, watching YouTube and whatnot. That's obviously a decision that I have to make, and I have to control myself from getting carried away with my fantasy and whatever I'm doing in the game world. But that's one of them. And second of all is definitely when creating the product, you have to be really you have to put your heart and soul into that product because it's your personal project, because you're gonna need it to graduate, I guess. uh but yeah, you have to really put the consideration about your product, and do the best you can. Anyone want to go next?
I don't have much to say. I just want to say that I agree
Okay, okay.
completely with Gavin.
I don't think I have any important decision.
Same.
Nah, I
Especially
don't.
crucial one.
All of Zaki's decisions are just all calculated from the head.
Dude,
She doesn't need to change anything.
It's
all
never wrong. It's
calculated.
never wrong. Always calculated. It's never wrong.
to garantiram. That's the answer.
All right. So we go to the next question, or do you still have answers about big decisions? We go to the next questions, right? Okay. The next question is from Budina Febrina. How do you see your communication skill develops over the years? You mentioned about communication skills. I think all of you, yeah. So this is the question. Oh.
May I go first? Or Farrell wanted to?
No, you can go first.
Ladies first.
Bro, come on.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's a joke. Come on.
Okay,
Go.
so it's based on my personal experience. Maybe some of you guys watching right now is in the same class as mine. And so when I was in year 7 and I first came to Cikal, it's just a simple speech. It's not even a speech. It's just a reading in front of the whole class. And then you know what I did? I fainted in front of the class. Like literally fainted. I cried, and then thank you to my friends who helped me to go to the UKS, the clinic. I fainted in front of the class, and then I think I cried a little bit. Yeah, I did that because I ain't able to do public speaking that well, even though it's just like in front of my friends. And over this past year, I've been developing my public speaking skills, such as presenting or like in my house. There's a community where like every teenagers just need to go on a speech and talks about his experience on learning. There's a community in my house, and yeah, I developed my public speaking skills there. So I ain't gonna faint again the next time I'm gonna do public speaking. So yeah, it's developed, very very developed. So who's gonna go next? Farrell, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, me and Kenzie I think we're in the same class in grade 7, right? Yeah, in English we're in the same class. We had the same English class. We all had to present, and well, Kenzie's story. For me, I did the speech, but I wasn't prepared. I didn't know what to do, so I just made up some stuff, which I want to say sorry to my English teacher. Miss Hesty, I think her name is. I'm sorry
Yeah,
that
Miss
I
Hesty,
kind of
Miss Hesty.
yeah, Miss Hesty. I want to say sorry. I want to say sorry to her for making up false things about my speech. But it is what it is. But yeah, over the years, you just get more comfortable with it because, yeah, in Cikal here we mostly present stuff. We mostly either present or we do a speech or just have a group discussions about it. So like public speaking is more, you just get more comfortable on it over the years. You get more comfortable. You just know how to structure it in your head so it doesn't get all messy. You know um, how to give information to people, and yeah, the over the years it just goes smooth. And yeah, the way there is a bumpy ride, but the ending is all smooth.
So I think we all have like bad experience with year 7, because I also have quite scarring experience in that class, especially when the speech. So the thing is, during that speech, my body is like so shaking, like there's an earthquake basically, and I drop all of my cue cards, and things led to the other end. I cannot even like speak like one sentence in that speech, and that is a really scary experience for me. And yeah, I think that is like also the benchmark for how I look at myself back then and now, and how I have quite improved. Maybe I've improved. I don't know, because for me, I don't really judge my public speaking skills by myself, but rather others, how others see it, because I don't really like judging myself that much. Yeah. Gavin, and do you have any experience?
Um, maybe I don't have experiences, as really bad as you guys, but definitely, I feel like I have improved, throughout the years. Obviously, the more projects we do, the more presenting we do, the more speeches we do, and yeah, I don't really have much to say.
Okay.
Okay.
Karima, they were speaking about their experiences in year seven. You are year seven. Do you also experience
No,
fear of
I'm in year
speaking?
9.
Oh, you're none. Okay, sorry. I thought you were year seven. Sorry. Okay. Now we move on to the next question. Yeah. From yeah. From who is the question? Okay, the question is from Alimat Ratai. I think this is the last question because we don't have much time. We will soon end the session. From Alimat Ratai, the question is, you said that there were a lot of distractions during your PP phase. What is your motivation to push through? Who will answer the question?
Maybe
Uh,
only just like two representatives, maybe, due to the fact that the time
Yeah,
is not
probably,
enough.
yeah.
So maybe Fadal or Gavin or Zach.
um, yeah, I
You wanna
think
go
I'm gonna.
or
Yeah, I
okay?
think I'll go first because I have the best redemption arc in PP. Um, yeah, when I was doing my personal project, especially when I was doing my product, there's a lot of ups and downs. Just there's days and there's times where I feel like doing it, where I just feel very productive, and then there's other times where I just bought a new game, I want to finish it the whole day, and unfortunately, um, that went that went really bad. I ended up just playing games for 2 3 weeks straight and just disregarding my project, just forgetting about my project. And yeah, the consequences is that I was really late into submitting my project, and I ended up getting grounded from my parents. Yeah, they took everything I had, not literally, but they took away my phone, my laptop, and such, and only allowed me to do my personal project. But in the end, that proved to be very helpful to me because I I mean, like, not to brag or anything, but I was actually one of the first people to finish my PP report. It was very helpful to me, and I'm very glad for my parents um, for the tough love.
Okay, great answers, guys. Thank you to Zaki, Farah, Gafin, and Kenzie for your amazing session. It is great to see the wonderful talents of our Year 10 students and what they have learned through our virtual classrooms. I hope that you enjoyed today's session and have learned something new from today.
Okay, I would like to remind you all that this event doesn't stop today. After this session, there are still Cikal Talk Session 16, Year 6 Math. You can also browse through our virtual gallery on our website. You can see all our events on our website and or check out other streamed events on Sekolah Cikal official YouTube. Lastly, I would like to say thank you one more time to all of the audience here today, fellow students, proud parents, and also respected guests. Thank you for having us as your hosts. Good afternoon and see you in Cikal Talk Session 16, Year 6, Math. Thank you.
Five,
Thank
four,
you,
three, two,
guys.
one. Close the door.
Thank you, everyone.
Assalamualaikum.
Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you,
Welcome.
everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
layar belajar lagi.
Sudah rindu kembali
Oh, lagu Cikal ya?
sabar